A Fayetteville police officer is facing a dozen charges accused of misconduct.
This video was intended to inform and educate the public.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in to this episode of the Junkyard News. Today we're going to talk about finances and money, particularly Leos wanting to earn extra cash the right way, the ethical way, and how temptation for one officer to take advantage to pad his pocket turned into him getting caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Brian Gerber was a 7-year veteran of the Fayetteville Police Department. Now, Police Chief Kemberle Braden has started the process to fire him.
I've stood behind this podium at least 3 times to prove that the Fayetteville Police Department is willing and able to hold itself accountable when it's necessary.
Gerber faces 12 counts.
There are several ways cops can earn extra money on the legit. One of those ways is Leos working extra duty as security at places like strip malls or private property, where an officer can keep his status as a Leo and actually work security jobs as a Leo and retain his authority as a law enforcement officer while doing private security work. Police officers working extra duty as security at places like strip malls is a common practice, and here's how it's supposed to work. We have extra duty versus regular duty. On regular duty, this is an officer's standard scheduled work for the police department. Extra duty refers to work performed outside their regular shifts, often in a security role, but while still in their capacity as a police officer. Now, extra duty is arranged at the request of some businesses, like those of strip malls, may request police presence for security purposes. This can be for routine patrols, special events, or specific concerns about safety. Now, normally, departments do have a approval process, and the police department typically has a system to approve extra duty work. And this ensures that the job doesn't interfere with the officer's regular duties or violate any type of department policies. And more often than not, the actual police department coordinates that extra duty request. There may be a coordinator or a designated department within the police force that handles requests and assigns officers based on police availability. And of course, this does come with extra payment and extra compensation for cops. Not only cops, but the department as a whole as well. The businesses requesting security service by the police department pay the officers directly, usually at an agreed upon hourly rate. And this rate may be set by the actual police department or negotiated with the business. There are police departments out there that do charge an administrative fee for coordinating all this extra duty work, which means the department is earning extra money as well from these local businesses, which may be paid by the business in addition to the officer's fee or salary that they're getting while they're on that job. Now, when working these extra security shifts, officers typically do wear their standard police uniforms and use their department-issued equipment, such as their radios and their firearms. Remember, they still retain their full police powers. While working these extra duties, officers retain their full police authority, meaning they can enforce the law as they would during any regular shifts. The officer's role might include patrolling an area, monitoring security cameras, managing crowds at special events.
Yo, Dre, I got something to say.
Responding to any incidents on the property, or providing a visible deterrent to crime. Now, while on these extra duty shifts, where they are working as security guards, officers must still comply with department policies regarding extra duty work, such as limits on hours worked to prevent fatigue and not be in conflict with their regular duty shifts. Cops usually work within their jurisdiction during these extra duty security shifts, ensuring that they are familiar with local laws and ordinances, as well as familiar with the area that they're working. Now, of course, the benefit to working these extra duty security shifts is that the officer gets additional income and the opportunity to work in a different environment than his standard day-to-day. Businesses benefit from a uniformed officer's presence, which can deter crime and provide a sense of security for customers and employees. But if not managed properly, extra duty work can lead to issues like fatigue or conflicts between the officer's primary and secondary employment responsibilities. This practice is common among many police departments and helps officers earn extra income while providing a valuable service to the local businesses in the area. But what happens when an officer who is just human, decides he wants to take advantage of the situation and take advantage of these extra duty shifts. Well, we have one officer that we're highlighting today. That officer is Sergeant Brian Gerber from the Fayetteville Police Department in North Carolina, who has just been charged with fraud and fired from the department. So it seems that ex-Sergeant Brian Gerber decided the temptation for this free money was too great to ignore. So it seems that in this case, ex-Sergeant Brian Gerber decided to get a little greedy. He wanted the extra money from these off-duty shifts, the security work at a local strip mall, but didn't actually want to work it. He had better things to do in his life. Maybe he wanted to watch a sporting event on TV and drink a couple beers with his bros. Maybe he wanted to go to the donut store with his Blue Line brothers and, get some Winchells or some Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe he wanted to go to the beach, go fishing, go camping, go on vacation. Who knows? All we know that ex-Sergeant Brian Gerber decided he wanted to get paid to work off-duty shifts that he never wanted to work in the first place. But he still wanted the money for it. And ex-police officer Sergeant Brian Gerber decided that his job, his cushy job as a police officer, was worth being put at risk. As a Leo, he was making decent money being a police sergeant. But he decided to put all that at risk to gain an additional $20,000 in pay. But it caught up to him. Gerber was charged with 12 counts of fraud and obtaining property by false pretenses. He's accused of falsifying timesheets at his security job. Gerber is no longer employed by the police department. The charges stemmed from Gerber's employment as a security guard at Market Fair Shopping Center in Fayetteville. According to court documents, a complaint was filed by the manager of the Market Fair. Sources close to the investigation told news agencies that when Gerber was scheduled to be at the mall, he would occasionally write the hours he worked on his time card, but never report it to the job site. The chief said Gerber had been with the police department since 2017, and he actually was promoted to a sergeant back in 2023. So he's been a sergeant, a year at best? The chief was also quoted as saying that to him, the definition of ethics is the expectation or the code of conduct that's placed upon you based on your role, your title, your positioning, or your profession. There's certain things that the average person could probably do or get away with that we can't allow our police officers to do or get away with.
Gerber faces 12 counts of obtaining property by false pretenses. According to court documents, a complaint was filed by the manager of the Market Fair Mall on Skybowl Road. That's where Gerber was employed as a security guard during his off-duty hours. Sources close to the investigation tell me, on occasion when Gerber was supposed to be at the mall, he would put the time on his time card but wasn't actually there. We're told the fraudulent activities resulted in losses exceeding $20,000. The police chief says it's a matter of ethics.
To me, the definition of ethics is the expectations or the code of conduct that's placed upon you based on your role, title, position, or profession. Okay, there are certain things that the average person can probably do or get away with that we can't allow our police officers to do or get away with.
The police chief says Gerber is cooperating with this ongoing investigation and that more charges may be filed.
Gerber's first court appearance on these fraud charges are scheduled for a future date. He was released on a $26,000 unsecured bond. So what do you think about a cop that decides to put his cushy, sucking on the tit of the taxpayer income at risk for an extra $20,000? I don't know. Seems awfully stupid to me. But they say that police departments don't hire the best and the brightest. Because the best and the brightest might get bored or come to realize that sucking on the tit of the taxpayer might be fun for a while. But in the end, you're just a leech. Thanks again for watching this episode of the Junkyard News. Be careful, all you cops out there. Make sure you're doing the job right and don't violate the law, or else you may be in the next video. Thanks again.